Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a summer day/days in my life. So a ton has happened, guys, this last month. I have been MIA because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but I have been working on a cookbook and a wellness course. And by the way, if you are interested even at all and you want to add your email to my wait list to get information when the course launches in the next month or so, feel free to check out the link below. So like I mentioned, a lot of things happened this month. Our chickens are finally laying eggs. We have actually a few Homestead updates to give. Today's video is actually sponsored by Green Chef, and I made the most amazing ancho chicken soup that I'm going to be sharing today. So thank you, Green Chef. I'm also going to be sharing construction updates with you guys because we've been making progress. I also did a grocery haul. Praise the Lord for groceries and food. So I'm going to share with you what I got. We picked up some new patio furniture, did a few fun activities as a family. The boys actually left town to Texas for a week. And as usual, I am making tons of food, treats, snacks, drinks in this video, and I'm excited to share them all with you. Life is marching forward in the summer here on our little homestead in the mountains, and I'm excited to bring you guys along. If you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps to support my channel. And with all of that being said, let's hop right in. Okay, so I had seen these on the internet, but I had never been a part of one before, and this was called a blessing way, which is basically like a baby shower, just has a different cool name. And this was so amazing. We got to all come together as a community and shower our friend Christy with love and encouragement as she was getting ready to welcome her baby boy into the world, which since this point, she has welcomed her baby into the world. And this event was just so lovely. If you watch all of my videos, then you may remember I went to another blessing way back in December for another friend in our community, and both were just beautiful. And this night was full of tears and love and good food and prayer and celebration. And I just felt extremely blessed to be there and to be able to love and bless Christy as she was getting ready for this season in her life. This was actually her 5th birth at home, which was wild and super inspiring. So I didn't get many shots, but Berry Blossom Farms is open for the season. And if you watched my videos the last 2 years since we got to Idaho, you know we're obsessed. This is a local, no spray organic farm, and we made our way down for the first strawberry pick of the season. And then after we picked strawberries, this is a moment. So I have been dealing with plantar fasciitis. I didn't really realize that.
It's a fungus.
It's not a fungus. It's a foot pain at the bottom of my heel. And I've been dealing with this for I started dealing with it about a year before I had Logan. But weirdly, when I got pregnant with Logan, it completely went away. And that wasn't really it was actually more pain in the ball of my foot. But anyways, point being, now that I'm doing physical therapy and I'm starting to be more active and on my feet, like squats and lunges and stuff, I'm realizing, and after going barefoot for so long, I don't know, my feet are in a weird position now because my plantar fasciitis is hurting a lot and I don't really have any proper shoes. I've kind of gone back and forth with the whole barefoot shoes thing. I actually ordered Lems last year and they were too narrow for my feet. And I don't know, I've been doing the barefoot thing for a while and I don't know that I've noticed a difference for the better. Point being, my physical therapist really wants me to get fitted for a pair of shoes. So there's a place here in town called Fleet Feet where they do a foot scan, and quite a few people spoke highly of them, including my physical therapist. So even though this kind of goes against everything I've been looking at and reading for the last year or so, but
I stopped fast because we found a parking spot. Really good parking spot.
I'm picking off lint from my hat as we're talking. We swung in really fast to this parking spot.
But I do understand though.
He's so cute.
We just need to go to the lake now. I don't like that you stopped very fast.
So basically, moral of the story is, even though it goes against everything I've been learning online, my PT is really cool. And I straight up told her all this. I was like, look, I've gone down the wormhole about barefoot shoes. I've been wearing toe separators, this, that, blah, blah, blah. She basically was just yeah, that's not necessarily untrue information, but everybody's different. And I've been working with you for a while now, and I think you need some kind of support occasionally, whether it's when you're training or when you're hurting like this. So I'm just gonna go with it. Honestly, I just feel like there's a lot of value to working with people one-on-one, because sometimes with like, when you're just looking at like all the information out there, you're like, okay, what really works for me? And I think that's great to do because you can try things, experiment, you know, all of that. But I like her, I trust her. Does it mean that this is gonna help or work? Not necessarily, but I'm willing to experiment. And I've never done this before. I've never been like fitted for shoes. So I hope this goes well. My gut is telling me that I have such wide feet that nothing in this store is gonna fit my Flintstone feet. They'll be like, well, we have these wide feet.
They're unisex shoes, or you'll just get the men's shoe that fits, I would recommend.
Dan's cast his recommendation.
You got man feet.
I kind of do. It's weird because people on the internet like my feet. Maybe not you, but like there's a group of people that like made an Instagram about
really?
My feet.
There's a group of people that like your feet on the
And I'm like, that's so weird, because like I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm super insecure about my feet, but I'm not someone that's like, look at my feet. I'm kind of just like, my feet, like this is too much on my feet. It's because I'm about to go to the feet store, Dan. This isn't totally random, which this whole area, by the way, totally looks like I live in like Stars Hollow. I'm just throwing that out there. This is a good burger place, by the way. What were you gonna say though? I gotta go into Fleet Feet.
I bit my tongue.
Doesn't this color look great on him? Cute. Thumbs up, Logie. Oh. Oh, yeah. Can you say Fleet Feet? Pretty good. So this foot scan is like the reason I basically came to this store. I mean, I would have come anyways, even if they didn't scan my foot, because I wanted someone to help me get fitted for the proper shoes. But it was funny because the woman was like, oh, here's an angle you've never seen of your feet before. And I'm like, I'm so weird and obsessive. I have seen my feet and ankles from every angle. Like, I'm a former dancer. I know how my ankles have changed over the years. And it hasn't been for the better at this point, though I am believing that through proper shoes, continued exercises, all of that, I'll be able to regain like strength and all of that. I'm actually trying to not go off on a rant about my ankles right now. But anyways, I tried on a bunch of shoes in the store. These were a pair of Hokas I tried on. I'll be showing you soon, but I actually ended up settling on Ultras, and I'm kind of obsessed with these shoes now. So like I said, I'll probably be talking about them soon. But after I got my shoes, I walked over to a coffee shop called The Vault. Dan was at the park with Logan and wasn't quite back yet. So I grabbed a strawberry green iced tea. Side note, that's not a side note, they have my favorite iced tea as of right now in all of Coeur d'Alene. The Vault downtown, strawberry green iced tea, mwah, so good. So on this day, I was very excited because it was a busy day and my Green Chef arrived. And you guys know Green Chef always comes in clutch when I need them. I do not like to eat out. And Green Chef helps me to eat cleaner and live a healthy lifestyle versus falling back on fast food maybe sometimes. To those of you that don't know, Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company and they have options for every lifestyle. We ordered the keto and paleo kit this month. That's turned out to be our favorite in the last year. But they also have vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. And if you didn't know this, Green Chef is actually owned by HelloFresh, so they offer even more meal plans to choose from, and there's literally something for everyone. So if you guys want to try Green Chef or HelloFresh, you can actually enjoy both brands at a discount with me. Now, like I mentioned, I was so excited about this soup, and I have to give a spoiler alert. The soup actually ended up being even better than I expected, which says a lot. Green Chef has tons of delicious and nutritious recipes with clean ingredients like organic fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. They also limit processed ingredients and they don't use any artificial colors or sweeteners, so you can feel good about the food that you're eating. As you saw in the beginning, all of the food comes well organized in these little kits, which is super convenient, and you end up with no waste, which is amazing. And Green Chef is actually the only meal kit that is both carb carbon and plastic offset. So they offset 100% of their delivery emissions, as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. And nearly all packaging materials are curbside recyclable in most areas in the US. You guys know that eating well does not have to be boring. In fact, I think it's the exact opposite, that by tasting the rainbow, you get to have a more exciting, flavorful meal. And with Green Chef, you can try new exciting flavors and unique ingredients like bok choy, kimchi, sauerkraut, asparagus, beets, jicama, chard, currants, fennel, edamame, quinoa, and rice noodles. Okay, I have to say, I already took a bite. This is so good. So if you guys want to try Green Chef, you can use my code NikkiGreenChef50 to get 50% off plus free shipping. Go to greenchef.com for more details. So not only does any kind of construction, I find, just tend to take a bit, but also the last few years have been so jam-packed with like other things in life. It's just taken us a while to continue to get set up. And Dan, on this day, I was very excited because he's been making a lot of progress on our office, which, if you didn't know, Dan has basically converted like a quarter of our garage into an office. And here he was installing a window, which was really going to help bring the office over the top, because a room without a window just doesn't feel the same as a room with a window. By the way, I am actually recording my voiceovers in my office right now. The window's in. Very exciting times. So had to show you, our garden is exploding with flowers. So much so we probably should have pulled some, because they definitely took away, like, they caused shade in areas of our garden where we probably didn't need shade, but that's kind of a side note. So yeah, very exciting that this window is up. It's honestly just very exciting. Every single step that we take on our homestead towards creating the vision that we have in this home is so thrilling, and yeah, just thrilling. So on this day, we had been waiting like all year from this. Now, this is not technically the air show, which actually was really what we were waiting for. And as I'm saying that out loud, we might have missed it again this year. But we were on the hunt for plane stuff. And here at our local small airport, we had a couple of military jets that flew in to land to kind of just, I guess, show off. I don't know. That's what Dan said. Dan's like, yeah, they're flexing their muscles, showing us their planes. So we made our way down to watch the landing, which was kind of scary. And then the planes parked and we all just ogled? What's the word? We were just like, ooh, ah, we were all very excited. It was also extremely loud, like very loud. So back at the window, you know, you have to do these things in steps, obviously. Things have to dry, and Dan was putting on the finishing touches around the window, installing the blinds. Very exciting. And then on this day, Dan and Logie made their way to Texas. I'm good. I did start crying as I was saying goodbye to Logie. It's a little chilly too. Maybe I've mentioned this, maybe I haven't. The lint on my hat's annoying me. I have not been away from Logan for even, this lint's driving me crazy, even 24 hours since he's been born. Like, we tried to go away for a one-day trip after we moved here. This lint's driving me insane. And we couldn't even stay away for 24 hours. We had to stop by and check. So this is a long time away from my baby. And I definitely got a little teary-eyed. And same thing with Dan. I think the longest I've been away from him was like 3 days. So this is crazy. I gotta drive home now. I'm going to be throwing myself into my work and socialization to make the time pass this week. And yeah, if I didn't say why I didn't go to this, by the way, we literally just got a feeling like I wasn't supposed to go. Like, this isn't my trip. I'm not supposed to be there. I know that sounds really weird. I've been with Dan for like 17 years. I've never done anything like this, but both of us just kind of got the same feeling, like, this isn't my trip. I'm not supposed to go. So staying back, working on some things, getting ready on for the launch of my course, working on my cookbook, gonna see some friends, and yeah, it's 6:30, so I'm gonna start early on the day. Let's wipe the tears from my eyes and drive home. So So I didn't film a ton while they were gone because just in general, like I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of my energy in life has really been directed towards my cookbook and preparing for my course. But when the boys were gone, I did want to experiment with a couple of things. And one of the things that I wanted to make was this sandwich loaf of bread. So this was a totally different recipe than my basic sourdough loaf that I'm obsessed with, you guys know. This was more of like supposed to be a soft loaf. Now, I experimented with this and used coconut oil instead of butter, and it's just a totally different recipe. I will say it turned out okay. It wasn't the greatest. I definitely still have some experimenting to do with soft sourdough loaves, but it was good, and I did in fact eat it all now that I'm thinking back on it. So another thing I knew I wanted to do while they were gone in this week was start my ginger soda, or at least activate the ginger bug. So this was sent to me by my friend who owns the company Sandpoint Soda. And if you've never tried ginger bug soda before, I have been told about this so many times, and I never wanted to do it because honestly, I don't like ginger. And when my friend reached out to me who owns this company, I told her, I said, dude, I don't like ginger. And she said, it doesn't matter. It pretty much doesn't taste like ginger when you're done. So I knew this was the week where I could get my head around starting this fermentation. So if you don't know what that is, basically a ginger bug soda is just fermented ginger, because when you are fermenting something and feeding it, it becomes bubbly. So that's how you're, just like sourdough. So that's how you're creating this bubbly situation. It's fermented ginger. Now, I will fast forward and tell you she's totally right. The flavor of ginger bug soda is almost low-key addicting. It doesn't really taste like ginger. It's so good. Now, I will say I've only been able to take like little bits at a time. I'm way fast forwarding here because you're just watching me ferment the ginger because it's so sweet. But I also didn't drink, I never drank regular soda really because it's so sweet. I would just have it in sips. So that being said, this stuff turned out amazing. So I started off by pouring in the dried ginger bug. I grated fresh ginger, although honestly the ginger had a little bit of mold on the outside that I cut off, and I didn't really know what was happening at this point. Like when I was following the directions, I didn't get that was going to be the ginger that would be sitting there fermenting like forever. So I might have used a different ginger if I'd known, but the ginger was fine. How many times can I say ginger? I put that in my microwave because I don't really use my microwave. It's more like a fermentation station at this point, to sit there and start its first ferment. And then while that was happening, I thought I would show you what I picked up on a medium-sized grocery haul to our local bougie small town natural market. All right, so I picked up a peach kombucha. I love this peach paradise kombucha, some triple cream goat and brie cheese, a big tub or jar of raw local honey. It's amazing. These organic cherries, these spring roll wrappers, you'll see what I do with them soon, some burrata because I've never tried it, some lemons, a bunch of oranges, some new toothpaste from Desert Essence, this deodorant in Mountain Lavender from Humble. I really like it. This black chili crunch from the grocery store. They made it themselves. Asparagus, some pancetta, this Copper River salmon, which was incredible. This Beeler's uncured bacon, which is also incredible. Some more ginger for my ginger bug. This beef balsamic probiotic cashew dip from Cultured Mama. Some cilantro, and some more fresh organic garlic. I pretty much prefer fresh garlic 99.999% of the time, actually 100% of the time. I never buy the pre-crushed garlic. I could see myself using it for certain things if it was, convenience and it made sense, but I think fresh garlic tastes so much better, so I always restock on that at the grocery store. Now, this is a recipe-ish that I saw on TikTok or Reels, whatever, that I wanted to kind of recreate my own version. So I started off with this rice paper, and then I took a little bit of this black chili crunch that I picked up at our grocery store, spread that on the rice paper once it had heated, cracked an egg in the center, used chopsticks because that's what the girl did in the video, and then realized there was no reason to use chopsticks moving forward. So after that, I didn't, if you were wondering. Added some salt and pepper, did a little bit of sriracha on top, just continued to spread the eggs out so that they would cook properly, and then folded the rice paper over and let it cook like a little crunchy quesadilla. And it was so good. This black chili crunch was delicious. And I think I had 3 of these back to back. I was like, whoa, talk about a TikTok find or a Reels find, whatever. By the way, this was my bread. This first loaf, I definitely did not let rise enough, and just an odd little recipe. Like I said, it was okay, but that's kind of the mantra of all of my cooking, by the way, is just keep cooking. Like, get to the end. It's going to be edible. It's probably fine. So Fast forward, this is the next day, and it was time to feed my ginger bug again. So I fed it with water, sugar, fresh ginger, and then I threw it back into my fermentation station, aka my microwave. So I haven't been to many estate sales in my life, but I feel like they happen all the time here. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I'm just noticing them now, or if they really do happen all the time here. But on this day, there was an incredible estate sale. We actually got a few random things. And at the sale was this little patio set. Now, is this my dream patio set? No. But is this a perfectly fine, nice, adorable patio set with kind of a retro vibe? Yes. Did I pay close to nothing for it? Yes. So I'm pretty stoked about this patio set because we really needed somewhere to sit outside, and it just needed to happen, and needed to happen ASAP. So Dan was actually gone, as you know, probably still at this point, in Texas. So me and my parents actually went to pick it up and just decided that it was so cheap and so great. We purchased it. My dad helped me get it home, and I set it up. Fast forward, by the way, yes, you've caught the insinuation I did this without telling Dan. It was a surprise, but he loved it. So he got home. He was very excited to have a table and chairs out there, and especially one that fit in the area so well, because it's a really odd shaped area. Anyways, on this day, I needed to gather eggs. As you can see, it was definitely time to gather the eggs. They lay so many eggs now that if we skip like 2 days, it's kind of crazy. And we really need to figure out what we're going to do with all of our eggs now in terms of like preserving them. By the way, I was crawling under the house because they lay most of their eggs in the coop, but then they have this little area we call the nest right under our fireplace where they also like to lay. So I had to check under there as well. So on this day, I decided I wanted to make some chili. I've been messing around with my Crockpot recently because it's starting to get really, really hot up here, and I'm trying to think of other ways I can cook food that does not involve my oven, because in the fall and winter I get so oven heavy with my recipes. So I started to brown the meat on the stovetop, and then I knew on this day, by the way, the boys were getting back to town from Texas. I told you I did not film much that week. And I knew I wanted to make them chili, and I wanted to make them sourdough dinner rolls because they are both obsessed with my sourdough dinner rolls. So on this day, I mixed the dough. I did my first set of stretch and folds, and then, as you see, continued to brown the meat, and then started to chop up some onions for my chili. I also chopped up like my leftover mushrooms that I had on hand. I didn't have a ton, but I chopped up what I did have, and I just transferred everything to the crock pot. So basically ahead of time, the only thing that I cooked was the meat. This is kind of a debated thing, but people will often say that if you want that browned vibe on meat, you really have to brown it like in the pan. So I poured in all my meat, my sauces, my veggies. I was out of canned tomatoes on this day, so I actually just had to do plain tomato sauce. Oh, here I am, just kidding, chopping up my remaining mushrooms. I didn't want to do it by hand, so I just threw them in the blender really quick to dice up, added those to the mix. Then I added in some chicken bone broth, as well as some tomato paste to thicken everything up, and lots of really great fresh garlic. Now, I love corn and chili. Like, I love corn and chili. Dan's really iffy about it. Like, he doesn't dislike it, but if I could do like double that amount of corn, I would, but he likes that much. So I threw in some frozen corn, then I threw in some Worcestershire sauce. I think I put in a little soy sauce, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, or maybe it was apple cider vinegar, some sliced pickled jalapenos. My chili kind of changes up depending on what I have on hand, but this is pretty close to the version that I'm putting in my cookbook. Then I took some of my honey and I drizzled that into the mix as well. Gotta have a little bit of sweetness up in there. So I knew we were gonna have chili for dinner that night and then have some to freeze. And I just love being able to make meals that can go in the freezer because you're cooking for yourself now and you're cooking for future you, and it's very satisfying. So now, while that was cooking, I decided to make myself a protein shake using this Ancient Nutrition chocolate collagen protein powder. I have a friend that had been using it and really liked it, and so I was just like, all right, I'm done with the protein debate. This is what I'm doing for now. I also added in some maca, some organic maca powder, a little bit of organic creamy peanut butter, as well as some raw milk that I picked up from the grocery store. I also threw in a little bit of frozen cauliflower because I really wanted frozen banana, but my bananas were looking a little weird and I just didn't want to do all banana on this day. So I threw in like one frozen banana and some chunks of frozen cauliflower, some scoops of my chocolate protein powder, a little bit of my milk. I added in a little bit of ice. By the way, this was my first day like messing around with going back to a protein shake. I've been making it like a few days a week and it's definitely a little different than this now. Like I'm not doing the cauliflower anymore. It was fine, but it was an experiment. It ended up still being good. I drank pretty much all of it. And yeah, my goal is to just get in some more protein, and using a protein powder is one of the ways that I'm trying to do that. At this point, it was time to do my second stretch and fold of my rolls. I believe these rolls take 3 stretch and folds, and I don't think I filmed the third one, but I will say these rolls are so incredible, and they're the best straight out of the oven with like butter and honey and maybe a little fresh lemon thyme. But they're also really great left over the next day as like sandwich bread, which we ended up bringing some of these to camp, which is not in this video. You guys will see that soon. We went to a family summer camp with our church, and we brought some of these rolls along for their pulled pork sandwich day, and they were perfect. So on this day for lunch, I had the most random lunch ever. I threw one of my all beef hot dogs on the stovetop to cook, and then I decided to make, this is really random, like I said, some avocado toast on the side since I had just made that fresh loaf of bread. Now I've made my toast a million different ways. This is kind of my go-to way lately. But I do avocado toast a lot of different ways, as you guys know. And I think I have 2 of those ways actually in my cookbook, if I remember right. But this has been my basic way lately. Just some butter, avocado, everything but the bagel seasoning, lemon juice, maybe a little olive oil, Parmesan cheese, some chunky salt. And then of course I had to make my way outside to my fresh little chives patch and cut some chives. Random, but the spider webs were so beautiful in our wood pile. I had to show you. They had been gathering water and it was sparkling. So then I brought my chives back in and I chopped them up with my scissors to throw them on top of my avocado toast with some red chili pepper flakes. And this is so good. I mean, am I ever gonna get over avocado toast? I honestly don't know. I don't know. It's so good. Random, but I love this supplement. This is the Perfect Green supplement from Perfect Supplements, and it's just a spirulina dark green blend that I put into little capsules, and I did that to have with my lunch, my random lunch of hot dogs, avocado toast, oranges, and my vitamins. Don't judge me. And I sat down and I ate my lunch in silence because it was still just me at the house at this point. And yeah. Okay, so one of the other random things I wanted to show you that we got at the estate sale was this train for Loki. The guy was like a full-on model trains collector, and if Logan was older and actually really serious about trains, we would have hit a gold mine. But I just got him one train because he does like the old-fashioned model trains, and he fell in love with this. And then my parents, while they were gone, picked him up this stuffed chicken. So he was coming home to a random array of gifts on this day. So after my dinner rolls had their proper chance to not only be stretched and folded, but also then sit there and rise for a few hours because the actual ball of dough needed to double after I did 3 sets of stretch and folds, I spread some flour lightly on my countertop. I pulled my dough out of my glass bowl and I separated it up into its 12 little pieces. Now, the way that I do this, if you're curious, I separate my big bulk dough into 3 pieces, and then from there, I just keep cutting in half till I have 12. It can get a little bit like, I don't know, I don't want to sound dumb, but like confusing when you're doing doughs and you have to cut things up because you'll want to get in a habit like, oh, I'm used to cutting the dough in half. It's like, no, depending on what you're making, you need to cut it into thirds. Anyways, that maybe sounded a little ditzy, but the very first time that I made these dinner rolls, it took me a bit to like get them separated into 12 even chunks. And I was like, why didn't I just separate these into 3 and then cut in half again? So you should do that and not just try to make 12 even chunks like I did the first time. So once I cut them up, as you can see, I kind of fold them over a little bit tight. I don't do too much folding because I don't want to lose all of the bubbles that we've already acquired from letting it rise. But I do want them to be a little bit tighter, like they're rolls. So you want to pull up the sides. And then I set them in my glass dish that had been greased with butter. So once I got all 12 rolls folded and shaped and put into my greased glass container, I don't know, words are hard right now. I covered them with a towel and let them sit and rise for about 3 hours. And so, of course, I had to clean up my little mess-a-roo in the kitchen first, do some wiping, some cleaning, and I just let those rise. Side note, I was feeling thirsty, and so I ended up pulling out some of my Peak BT fountain packs, and I had one of those drinks. And this is a hyaluronic acid and electrolyte drink. It's so good, and it feels so hydrating if you hit that afternoon, like, I'm thirsty and I need electrolytes feeling. This drink is amazing. So at this point, it was time to make my bed. I wanted the boys to come home to clean sheets. So I pulled all of my bedding out of the dryer, and I was really determined at this point, like, I am going to make the bed. And I put everything together except for the comforter on top, and you'll see once I got there, I was like, I'm gonna do it. Here we go. And then I laid everything out after pumping myself up, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Dan can do this with me later. This is far too difficult. So then I made my way to the bathroom, and I decided to wipe everything down, give it a nice little spray. The mirror was looking kind of grody and not cute. The countertops, all that jazz. By the way, lately I've literally just been using vinegar, water, and a couple of drops of essential oils as my cleaner. I can't say that it's amazing. I can't say that everything doesn't have a little bit of a vinegar smell afterwards for a little bit, or that it's not a little bit gross for a second. But once it dries away, it cleans everything really well. And it's been like a nice little stopgap, or maybe it'll be longer than a stopgap, just till I decide what I want to do for cleaning products. But that's what I've been doing lately, and it's been working well. So at this point, I turned on this, quote, easy arm workout from Cassie Ho or Blogilates, and it's a no weight arm workout. And it's really hard. If you're wondering if I can get through the whole thing without putting my arms down, by the way, if you've done this workout, the answer is I, in fact, cannot. So at least not yet. At this point, I made my way back into the kitchen and I wanted to transfer the eggs that I had picked up from my basket to a container to put in my fridge, because I think I mentioned this, we have way too many eggs. And we actually just got a second fridge, fast forward, that's out in our garage as well. Praise God, we really needed a backup fridge. But we've been putting our eggs in there because we have too many. We actually have to do some preservation of our eggs very soon in life. It's time. So at this point, I decided to wipe off my counters, wipe off my stovetop, and just keep getting some general cleaning done in the kitchen. By the way, this basil plant that I had gotten, this start, completely died, had been completely eaten up by bugs, and now it's like back to life, which is crazy. So on this day, it was finally time to make my soda. So the ginger bug had been fermenting for like 5 days, and I decided to start with this strawberry spice soda. Now, once I started making it, you'll see as we go, I realized, wait, I don't want the spice, and that's probably why she separated it in the package. The fruit and the spice like kept them separate from each other. Because I started off, I followed the directions by putting the fruit in the water and creating essentially like a little concentrate of these flavors, making a syrup. And this is where I should have started. Now, as I went, you'll see I added a little bit of the spice in after this, and then I smelled it and was like, wait, I don't like that spice. And then I scooped it out. But it didn't really, like the taste didn't really get left in with the strawberry flavoring. But just throwing that out there, if you do end up buying it, like smell the spice first. It's definitely got a distinct flavor profile that you may or may not be a fan of. And like I said, I realized as I started adding it, no, I just wanted the fruity soda. And it was great. I just picked it back out and it was all fine. So here was my gingerbug starter. As you can see, it's bubbly. If you stick your ear to it, you hear it fizzling like a straight up soda. And yeah, that was my little syrup that I brewed on my stovetop. And once I did that, I poured in, like I said, just following directions, I poured in the appropriate amount of sugar listed on the little sheet. Now the boys were home at this point. I clearly didn't do a whole like, welcome home, boys situation. But Logan just had to see me make the rest of the soda. So this was once again part of the directions. I poured the syrup into some cool water, and he was very excited to watch this go down. Then I strained out an appropriate amount of my gingerbug starter. Then I took my starter and I added it to the soda. Kind of crazy, just like doing a sourdough starter. It's like you have your little fermented batch of whatever, and when you mix it to the big thing, it ends up fermenting the entire batch. And very exciting. I'm still so new to the whole fermentation world. This was really cool to watch this come to life and to follow these instructions. By the way, I will have the link to the Standpoint Soda Company down below if you want to check them out. The woman who owns the company is like hysterical. Like side note, her Instagram makes me laugh all the time. So then once my soda had a chance to ferment, which this was like a full day later, once again, follow the instructions. I poured the soda in the funnel into the little soda jar. I don't know what we call it, soda bottle. And that was my strawberry soda. That was pretty much it. And guys, it was so satisfying to make my own. And even Dan, when he took a sip, he was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like very much had kombucha vibes, super yummy and hard to believe that I made it myself. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope that you liked it. Like I said, please give this a thumbs up, the video a thumbs up if you did like it. Once again, shout out to Green Chef for sponsoring this video. Be sure to use my code NikkiGreenChef50 to get 50% off plus free shipping. And last but not least, if you want to be added to the waitlist to get more information for my upcoming holistic health and cooking confidence class, I will have that link down below. And I will, God willing, see you guys back here soon with another new video. All right, bye guys.